why sealed product tends to go up over time. Welcome to the Solemn YuGiOh channel, where we discuss everything collecting and investing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, first of all, I am no financial advisor. I cannot predict the future. You do with your finances whatever you want, and if you need help, you go to an actual financial advisor with a license. Now, with that out of the way, I have covered on this channel vintage, investing in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, all this very interesting stuff. And there's people who often ask, what about sealed? What about sealed? Well, to be honest, I don't have a large sealed position. I will say the first thing I bought, I want to say 3 years ago, when I thought, I want to have some vintage stuff, was a sealed Kaiba starter deck. That was 3 years ago. But I do not have a major position in first ed LOB booster boxes or anything like that. I wish I did, obviously. Now, the most important thing is arbitrage. Essentially, if you open the box and on average the cards inside are worth more than the sealed box, something is wrong, because that would mean that there's incentive to open the box. Let's say you had a box of $100, but if you open it, on average you get cards worth 20,000. What will happen? Everyone will buy the boxes of $100, open them, get the cards worth 20,000, and not only would the supply of those cards increase, so their price would probably start decreasing, but the boxes would start decreasing in supply, and thus their price would increase, all the way up until arbitrage would no longer exist. So, arbitrage, aka you buying the boxes, opening them and getting cards, shouldn't exist. You can never make profit off a box on average. That is the rule. The second arbitrage exists, so a card soared, the box price should follow. LOB should go up if what's inside also goes up. That's the general rule. This means that if cards go up over time, the box should too. That's basically the rule you really gotta ingrain into your mind before we start talking about the rest. Once you get that, then we move on. Now, if all these cards start going down, the box could go down as well. Now, the one thing people consistently quote is Rudy from Alpha Investments. You can turn a box into cards, but you can't turn cards into a box. So no matter all the waves, the ups and downs, these boxes become more rare and the cards become less rare. It's that simple. That's always going to be the case. And so for that reason, there's many people investing into sealed products. So far, it has had decent returns. I'm not against it at all. Now, personally, boxes bore me. I like seeing my cards, but that is a complete subjective love. It has nothing to do with the financial value. Now, the only thing that has stood in the way of boxes the past few weeks is the amount of fakes out there. There are a lot of LOB first edition fakes. There are a lot of base set sealed Pokemon fakes. They are out there. And so that uncertainty has kind of made people sweat. I get that. Regardless, I am plenty bullish on sealed boxes. You know, if you are interested in having something vintage, a first ed of whatever, whether it's MFC, LOD, LON, Dark Beginnings, Crisis, MRL, MRD, LOL, all of that stuff, I think are decent holds. You know, if the cards go up, that will also go up. It's also, I would say, easier to transact in a box, because instead of having to consistently ship out multiple cards, you're just shipping the one box. You also can't say like, oh, it wasn't a strong 10, it was a weak 10. Oh, it wasn't a strong 9, it was a weak 9. So you don't really have the issues you have when it comes to scale and transaction issues as you do with PSA slapped cards. Now, on the other hand, you do have the fake issue. Like, someone could, first of all, your box could be fake if you didn't buy it yourself back then. Now, some of these are very easy to spot. There's plenty of LOB fakes on the market and you can just see like, yeah, it's fake. But on the flip side, you could also sell, and then that person could open a fake box and then go, look, it was fake. Demand a refund, and very often the PayPals and the Stripes and so forth will choose the side of the customer even though you did nothing wrong. So that is quite a big issue that you can have, which is less likely to happen with a PSA slab, because, I mean, you could, but good luck. Now, with that out of the way, again, holding your LON sealed, cool. There are people who look at that and then say, oh, my LOB box back then was 80 and it went to 20,000. My Dark Crisis was 80 and it went to 2,200. My dark beginnings and my this and my that, they all grew so much because sealed goes up, right? We already talked about, we had our arbitrage. You can only turn boxes into cards, but not the other way around. Therefore, I should buy some maximum gold boxes and sit on them. I should buy some blazing vortex boxes and sit on them because, again, arbitrage, you know, sealed investing, haha. Here's the issue with that idea. Yes, that has somewhat worked. There have been people who bought their boxes in 2018 and then sold them in 2020 and saw returns. Now, some people are saying good returns. I don't know about that. Given the amount of risk you're taking on with that stuff, you barely beat an S&P 500 index fund. I don't think you did. After fees and shipping and the risk and I don't think you did. But so, that out of the way, despite it somewhat working so far, be very aware of the amount of people using this strategy. There are so many people, especially because of 2020. We saw this whole collectibles rise, wave, bubble, whatever you want to call it. There's so many people who are incentivized. They think, wow, we see this, people getting rich, blah, blah, I too could do that. And now they mass buy these boxes, maybe a case even, keeping it sealed, thinking it's gonna pay for their kids' college. I don't know if that's gonna work. You know, sure, we had the arbitrage theory, but will the cards in the box actually go up? I don't think so. Like, you can talk about arbitrage, but the arbitrage only exists because those vintage nostalgic cards are so damn rare. That is not the case with whatever archetype is in Rise of the Duelist, like Dogmatica. That is already not hot anymore. And so many of these sets don't actually have chase cards that will carry the weight to make arbitrage in the future. So you can't just say, oh, this box was 80 on release and so it will go up because sealed can only go into cards and not vice versa, and all you start quoting Rudy and you start quoting these other people on Facebook groups that are so much smarter than I am. When you start doing that, you need to look at those fundamentals. Sure, it will work. Will it work well enough to justify your time? I don't know. I don't think so, personally. Especially long term. Like, once they release not just the 10,000 card with their 10,000 dragon, but now we're at that 200,000 card with a 200,000 dragon. Will you still remember Dogmatica Ecclesia? I don't fucking think so, honestly. There's nothing that set has going for it. Now, maybe we get a massive Gaia the Fierce Knight fan base, and maybe therefore that Gaia thing, that new one, will be part of that. You're really looking very far. Be very aware that a lot of the value in modern sets is in the playability of the cards. Because of power creep and ban lists and so forth, that playability dwindles over time. Generally, your cards do not become more playable over time, except for a few instances. There's like a couple, sure, play styles that became better over time, but in general, your box is close to its peak one day before the release. And beyond that, it's a really harsh decline, and then they slightly pick up, and then over time they start declining again. Since that's the case, since a large majority of cards go down, you do not get arbitrage on this sealed product, and therefore, how can these boxes go up? Now, one theory, and this is the dangerous one that not many people want to talk about, one theory is that this box you listed at 200 and there were no other listings because some people are still holding on for dear life. So your Rise of the Duelist box is now 200 because you're the only listing, and someone sees that and they go, wait, that box went from something to 200, it saw an increase, so they buy it, hoping for more increase. It is possible that a lot of the modern sealed product went up purely because speculators think it'll go up more. So I'd be very wary of that. The arbitrage on the cards isn't there. We have established that. There's a few outliers, but in general, with hundreds of different products, the majority of the cards in the sets have gone down, so the arbitrage isn't there. So why do they still sell higher? I don't know. I would dare to say it's literally speculators going. It already went up, so I'm gonna buy it at that ridiculous overpriced scalping price, and then it'll go up even more. I don't know about that. So sealed investing, yes. Old school stuff where all of the cards as kids were destroyed. No kid kept it sealed because it was the hot new thing and you wanted your cards. What nerd would sit on fucking boxes, am I right? All of those are rare. Truly rare. But on this modern product, the amount of people sitting on them and the fact that there's no nostalgia whatsoever because the people opening these are all 20 and 25 and 30, I would would be very, very careful if your financial future depends on your Phantom Rage or Rise of the Duelist box. That is all. Hope you found this interesting. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.